Hi, Brian.
So my question is something like, I understand that space is grossified consciousness, and grossification means to have form. How can you help me understand how how consciousness appears as form?
Mm. Okay, so now via the body-mind organism, right? Via the biocomputer, the biocomputer is equipped, among other things, with eyes, right? And so there is perception, there is phenomenal perception via the uh, visual cortex. So there is a depth, there is, the way the visual cortex is designed is, of course, to perceive differences, to perceive, contrasts between uh, shadows and light and colors and depth. Think of how your iPhone, like when sometimes you take a picture, you can edit it, you can edit, the aperture, you can edit the color, you can edit the vibrancy, you can edit the shadows, etc. So built in within the the ocular biocomputer system, there is the capacity to perceive. We perceive distance. So I perceive, for example, this table is here, and this wall is there, and the door is further out. There is um, a certain depth that is portrayed, that is sort of interpreted. The image is interpreted via many different facets, the color, the shape, the depth, the distance, etc. Now, I think your question was, how does consciousness manifest form? If that was your question, correct me.
Yes.
Yes. So first, it's important to understand what we mean by consciousness. Okay? Consciousness refers to reality. So in our experience, there is something rather than nothing. We cannot put a big X on our experience and say, okay, there's nothing. You can't. Because even when you put big X on your experience, there is still your experience with an X on it. It's still something.
Right.
Right. So there is something rather than nothing. Whatever that something is can be interpreted in many different ways, via thinking. But the fact that there is something means there is reality. There is a reality. There is something rather than nothing. There's something that's rather than nothing, which we don't know what that is, but we know that we perceive the world, we hear sounds, we feel sensations, that we know, but we don't know what that is, what the source of all of that is. Whatever that is what we refer to as consciousness, as reality. So there is a reality, there is something rather than nothing, which manifests in many different ways. Right now, it is, for example, manifesting as this conversation, right? There is this conversation. So this is a manifestation of consciousness. And a thought may appear to you, that thought is just a manifestation of consciousness. You perceive the thought. You are right now perceiving this conversation. You are witnessing this conversation, and of course you're understanding what is being shared. So there is perceiving and there is understanding simultaneously. You could say there is perceiving and understanding. The question is, what is creating this perceiving and this understanding? Well, there's only one candidate, which is reality. How does reality create? Obviously, it is creative because we perceive thoughts, we perceive sensations, we perceive mountains, we perceive rivers. So there is creative aspect to reality. How does reality create? Out of its freedom. It creates because it loves to create. There's no how to it. It does so because it's its freedom to do so. Consciousness is absolute freedom. We know this freedom because sometimes we feel freedom and sometimes we feel a lack of freedom, right? So sometimes we feel free and sometimes we feel less free. So whether we're feeling free or not free, we know freedom. We know the lack of freedom or the presence of freedom. So we know freedom. And how do we know freedom? We know freedom because we know consciousness. How do we know consciousness? We know consciousness because we are conscious. How do we know that we are conscious? We know we are conscious because we are consciousness, and we know we are conscious. Just innate within consciousness is the knowingness of consciousness. In other words, consciousness inherently knows it is conscious. You, meaning you, consciousness, not you, Brian, male body living in such and such a village. No. You, consciousness. You know you're conscious. You also know that the body is a male body, and you know that the name of the male body that was given by mom and dad was Brian. They liked the name Brian, so you know that too. Not only you know the world, not only you know the body, but you also know that you're conscious, meaning you know consciousness. There is no way for you to know that you are conscious if you did not know consciousness. So experientially, you know consciousness. You don't know consciousness because you went to the university or you went to your rabbi or priest or asked him and he told you what consciousness is. No. You know consciousness because you are conscious, because you have a direct experience of consciousness. You didn't go to your mom and dad and say, hey, excuse me, can you tell me if I'm conscious? No. Right? You know that inherently. So consciousness is real, meaning it does not age with the body. It does not decay with the decay of the world. It does not grow or diminish like your bank accounts can grow and diminish. No. It is that which is and cannot not be. It is that which is constant in your experience. You need to contemplate that which is constant in your experience. The thoughts that appear to you are not constant. They change. Oh, today is, no, I'd like to eat ice cream. Oh, no, I think I'm going to call my mother. Oh, no, I think I'm going to travel to Florida. Oh, no, I think I'm just going to lie down. Oh, I'm going to read this book. Thoughts are constantly changing. Contemplate the changeless, the source, because it is there that you will find your true self, that you will find your freedom, that you will find the peace. This is where you will find the fulfillment of your life. because your life is not about living 100 years or gathering a huge bank account and properties and a lot of people around you. All of that in a glimpse goes. There's a different purpose for you in this life, which is to come to the understanding of what we are sharing, the understanding about consciousness, to be clear about reality, not to borrow anybody else's understanding, but to get your own, to be your own.